We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is.
Hello. My name is Chelb. My pronouns are they, them. And this is Phasecraft Collective, your weekly check-in with the tarot to get the vibes, to see what's possible, to see what energy is available for the week to come. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome. It's about to get very rambly because it always is. And I usually don't remember to say hi, welcome if you're new here until after I've rambled. So I'm saying it here now. If you're new here, thank you so much for taking this moment for yourself to really just check in, to listen, to connect with something else. Not greater, but just something else. Something outside of you that is actually, in fact, within you. It's a fun week coming up. I mean, we have a full moon next Monday, so the energy of like the weekend is very big and bright and beautiful. Pluto just stationed retrograde, and the outer planets don't necessarily tend to have major individual effects on us as people, but they do cause greater effects in, society, culture as a whole. So just, keep an eye out for some stuff. See what's coming up. Don't tune out. Just tune in. And yeah. Personally, I'm excited. This week I'm working on getting up the first episode, I guess, on my YouTube channel of my witchy Sims 4 content, which, yeah, if this is your first time here or if you missed that, I'm going to start posting witchy Sims 4 content on my YouTube channel, which is very exciting. I've been playing The Sims for like 25 years, and I pretty much exclusively watch Sims content on YouTube. I only watch Sims content and ambience videos to put on in the background while I'm reading. But I've never really been I should post Sims content, because even though I am a pretty hardcore player when I go, I have some builds up on the gallery that have been downloaded over 1,000 times. Just saying, not to brag. And if you don't play The Sims 4, you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? But just trust me, that's cool. It's a cool thing that I'm bragging about. Anyway, I'm excited about that because the first thing that I'm really going to be talking about is manifesting with The Sims, which isn't something that I feel like a lot of people have explored, but it's actually pretty accessible because you can get The Sims 4 base game for free. There's a lot of expansions and stuff that you can add on, and to be a witch in The Sims you need an expansion pack, but if you just want to manifest your dream house, you can do that for free in The Sims 4. And there's something about the act of actually building it and actually imagining, visualizing yourself going through the motions of attaining it that's pretty successful. I've used The Sims 4 to manifest all of my moves. I've just never really pushed them to be too big. I've always just been I'm gonna do it in this Sims 4 to make sure that I have an easy time finding an apartment. The one time I didn't do it, actually, was when I was trying to move to LA. I ended up staying in LA for 6 weeks, hopping around between Airbnbs, and I did not do my Sims 4 manifestation, and I tried to tour an apartment three or four different times, and the building managers never showed up to any of the tours. So that was my sign. This is not for you. Go back to Seattle, and boy, was I glad I did. I don't live in Seattle anymore, but anyway, so that's my rambling. And just one last announcement. Also, because I brought up the full moon, if you are in my Patreon at the Coven tier or higher, Our full moon spell circle will be happening either Sunday or Monday. I just posted a poll about whether you wanted a pre-recorded version or if we do want to do it live. There's only a handful of people at those levels at the moment, so it's kind of like whatever's clever, whatever people need for their lives. But if doing a spell circle, which is essentially we get into a Zoom room, we cast a circle, and I guide you step by step through a spell, come join my Patreon. The link is in the episode description. You can do a free trial, so you can be in there for 7 days, see if you like it before you even pay any money. So yeah, that's happening this either Sunday or Monday. And what else? I think that's it. Oh, my readings. I've had personal tarot readings closed for all of April, but they are officially back open. And just a couple of changes. I used to do a pre-recorded 10 card video reading that I would email to you. I'm not doing those anymore. I am instead doing a 10 or 12 card, 10 tarot card, 2 oracle card emailed written reading, which I have 2 other iterations of emailed written readings too. So I have varying price points depending on your needs. The lowest cost reading that I offer is sliding scale $30 to $40. So that's not affordable to everybody, but it is fairly accessible. So if you've been needing some personal guidance on anything, just go to my website, get a 4-card emailed reading. They're fairly, they're not too extensive, but we can pack a pretty decent punch into that kind of short and sweet reading, and you get it emailed to you to keep for, however long you want to keep it. So all of that is available at the link in the episode description. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the messages for the week. So we always begin by taking a few minutes to breathe and ground and do what's called casting a circle or setting container together to just make sure we're fully present and ready to receive. So if you'd like, you can join me in closing your eyes, taking a couple of breaths. Just really coming into this moment, into your body. Feeling your shoulders rising and falling. Your rib cage expanding and softening. And become aware of wherever your body is making contact with the ground, whether it's your feet on the floor, you're sitting in a chair, your back lying on your bed or a couch, just however you are rested into the earth. Really feel into that space. Feel the pull of gravity holding you here. Feel the earth supporting you fully. And as you maintain this awareness of your connection to the earth, I'm going to call to the spirits and guardians of the elements. As I name them, as they enter, imagine their force creating a circle of protection around you. Maybe a circle of salt or a ring of fire. Maybe the ground opens and fills with water. Maybe you see trees or stones or mushrooms rising up from the earth. Maybe sunbeams stream down from the heavens, illuminating, swirling air in a force field around you. Whatever you see is perfect. It's right. It's good. It's your own magic showing up to hold you. I call to the spirits and guardians of the north, of earth, of the deepest roots and the tallest trees, the stardust that gave shape to this planet, into our bones, hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the east, of air, of wind and breath, of thought and change, hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the south, of fire,
the life-giving sun, the powers of creation and destruction, cleansing and renewal, hail and welcome. Then I call to the spirits and guardians of the west of water, the oceans and our blood, the rivers and our sweat, the rain and our tears, hail and welcome. We're surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. Take a couple more breaths. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Cool. All right. Let's see what the cards have to say for us today. I am using, I guess it's not too old, but it's a bit of an older deck. This is the Spolia Tarot. And it's one of my all-time favorites. I don't use it very often because it is out of print, but it is very cool. And so I hate to be like, check out this cool deck that I have that you can't get. I broke it out for the monthly reading for my familiar tier and up patrons, and it was giving me a little trouble. It was not wanting to talk, but now it's warmed up and we're getting some stuff coming right on out, and some good stuff too. We're starting with the magicians and the eight of the magicians, the magician and the eight of wands. So yeah, there is plenty of energy coming into this week. Plenty of opportunity coming into this week. And I think with May too, you know, May 1st, May 5th, actually today is the exact midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So today is the astrological date of Beltane or Beltane. So yeah, energy, forward movement, particularly fire and motivation, as well as like protection and abundance. These are all themes for how we're moving forward from today, from this moment. Holy crap, this is really talkative. We have a lot of swords too. We have a lot of swords kind of leading the charge here. Oh, sorry. Trying to adjust my microphone and just making it worse. And we have a few like difficult sword cards. We have the 7 of swords, the 3 of swords, and the 8 of swords, as well as the 2 of swords. And what all of those are kind of giving me is this, and here's the Queen of Swords, is this reminder to like not let yourself get in the way of how you want to move forward and what you want to create. But I'll talk about that momentarily. Any last things for us here? This might be where we end. I knew it. As soon as I say there's something where we end, we get one more. And I do think that is officially the end until we check the bottom. Yeah. Okay. And we're ending on a great note. The last note that came out, the last card that came out was the 9 of Cups. So I love that for us. But yeah, starting right away, the Magician. I mean, look at that Magician card. The Magician, the 8 of Wands. And I'm going to pull the 7 of Swords in here too. So both of these, right? The 8 of Wands, the Magician. This is not just the energy of like pure creation and manifestation and like belief in the self that you can do it. And with the 8 of Wands in the Rider-Waite-Coleman-Smith tradition, this is like really fast insights, quick inspiration. Jump on it or miss it. And this is that magician saying, hey, let's grab this as this comes. Don't ignore impulses. If you can't get to it right the second it comes, write it down and make sure you look at it again later to see what could be possible. You received that insight, you received that inspiration, you received that idea for a reason, and you have what it takes to bring it into reality. If we're looking at the 8 of Wands in a maybe different respect of
finding, and I feel like I keep talking about this, but finding ways to make your motivation, your creative process stable so that it can be a long-term, stretched out, consistent practice. And the energy of the magician can be extremely helpful there. By continuing this grounded belief that, again, you have what it takes, and that doesn't mean that you can't continue to learn, that you can't absorb new skills as you go, but that there's no reason to wait, or there's no reason to tie yourself back. But there's also no reason to move too quickly and get things done, because you have time to explore. There's an expansiveness here. Whatever you start this week has the possibility to be very long-term and long-term fulfilling. The magician also gives us the energy of Mercury, so there's clarity here. There is creativity and the ability to have what you say be heard. Yeah. And then with this Seven of Swords, an encouragement. This is, there is a deck that I used it last week, right? The Elemental Power deck that calls all the sevens overcoming doubt. So if Seven of Swords is overcoming doubt in the element of air, which is our mental space, this is exactly that reminder that you have to push past the idea that you don't have enough, you aren't enough, you don't know enough to get started on the things that you want to build. And then again, if we're looking at the Seven of Swords of like something being hidden or secrecy, what are you not willing to look at, or what are you not willing to face? And is it possible that what you don't want to explore is the idea that you will succeed? So many of us are afraid of success without even really knowing that we are, because that sounds so silly. Like, of course we want to be successful in the things that we do, but there's an essence of visibility that comes with that a lot of times. There's a knowledge that some things will change, and change is so scary to so many of us. So being able to push past, or at least work through, any internal doubts of your own mental capacity, the validity of your ideas, and the strength of your words, to be able to get to this Magician, Eight of Wands point of creative energy that lasts, that continues to support your efforts. Because then we have the Nine of Wands. Come here. Come on. And the Three of Swords. Again, threes are creation energy. And then the nines are this completion and finding this balance of knowing when to stop versus knowing when to shift. Does that make sense? Even if you find consistency, even if you find practice and routine, there will be moments where it feels like you're not going anywhere. And in those moments, cultivating what's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue. Cultivating I'm thinking of permaculture. But that's not the word. A regenerative thought process, or a regenerative practice of getting ideas moving again, of creating new ways of thinking for yourself, of expressing for yourself, to help you move past whether it's being satisfied or feeling like you're not doing enough, or feeling like it's done but you're not finished with it. I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's, yeah, feeling like it's done but you're not finished with it. How can you simply shift and use what exists to create what is next, right? This is the secret of building long-term, again, power and magic and routine, is knowing that while the basis of it stays the same, the process of it cannot stay exactly the same for too long for so many of us, because we become bored, we become burnt out. We feel like we're not seeing the same amount of success as we did right away in the beginning, because it becomes more stretched out, more long-term, again, more expansive. So then, the moon, the Eight of Swords, and the Two of Swords. Be careful not to be so focused on the external, the output, that you miss or ignore the deep truths and possibility and messages that exist within, deep within the subconscious, the dreams, your intuition. It's always a balance, right? Whenever we're doing something that is so outwardly expressed in the world, or so to do with like logic or thought, it can be really easy to ignore intuitive feelings or messages that want to guide us and kind of help nudge us along the path. If you try to put a damper on your intuitive connection to self, to other, then you end up getting to that stuck place, that place of imbalance. The outward and the inward must be used together. The creative and the logical must be used together. The logical and the intuitive must be used together. Even people who really don't believe in like anything to do with intuition beyond just like the intuition that we all feel more mundanely in our day-to-day life, they're using it. They're listening to it. They hear it. We all do. We all have that connection. And you can, call it whatever you want. You can say that it's not that or whatever. But once you figure out how to unite that thread between physical reality and inner knowing, that is when things can really start to open up and create opportunity for what you're building to really grow and have a chance. Six of Coins. Yeah. I'm thinking of, I said this in my last newsletter, that abundance grows when shared. And I really feel that way. And that's not some like weird rule of 3 thing, because that's not for me. Of like, whatever you put out comes back to you 3 times or whatever. But things like expressing gratitude, things like, sharing what you have, the reason that kind of stuff does tend to come back around to you is because the more you give, the easier or the more space there is for you to receive. And especially if we're giving between humans, like you should do whatever you want, but you should never be giving with the expectation of receiving in return. But the more generous you are with your time, your ideas, your resources, whatever, the more likely it is for that to be returned to you when you most need it. And, there's nothing wrong with asking for it, even before you feel like you've given enough, even though that's not really a thing, right? And it's in that knowing when to ask, even if it's not a human being that you're asking, that then starts to generate and grow everything that you're building and creating into maybe beyond what you wanted it to be to begin with. And at the same time, Queen of Swords, Queen of Boundaries, Queen of trusting their words and saying what they mean and sticking with it. There's no second guessing yourself. There's no room for second guessing yourself. Make your choices and stand by them. Even if you end up changing your mind down the road, don't second guess yourself. Within reason, of course, there's always that caveat of like, with considerations for mental health and, other things and choices that you might have to make. But that's what I mean, like choices that you might have to make out of desperation or survival are still choices you can stand by, even if you wouldn't agree with them 5 years down the line, because you know that you made it with an intention that was honest and true. This is a reminder to also protect yourself, your loved ones, but not doing it from a place of fear, but doing it from a place of love. Knowing when to speak out, knowing how to speak your truth, and being unafraid to do so. Yeah, we love the Queen of Swords. And then that last card was the Nine of Cups. Sorry, just hit the microphone. It was probably really weird and loud. The Nine of Cups. At the end of all of this, the reason that we're doing this is for that feeling of emotional fulfillment, which when I say emotional fulfillment, I mean, it's not that you're, not trying to get anything, not trying to change anything anymore. It's just that you are at a place where it's enough. Everything is enough, and more or different can be nice. But this contentedness, this satisfaction with how you have moved through this moment, and how you can then again share that feeling and spread it to other people, getting to a place where you become a beacon, a great example of what it is to get what you want and not have it corrupt you. Yeah, corruption. What a word. Let's look at the bottom of the deck. Okay, bottom of the deck is Five of Cups, which this is the big thing, right? This is what I kind of mentioned about fear of success. Knowing that you will have to let things go. And again, that doesn't mean that you have to, abandon a person, a job, a home. It does mean that you will have to release parts of yourself that want to hold you back or that are tied to past beliefs or those past choices that you maybe wouldn't, work through now, that you wouldn't use now. But knowing that those things falling over make it easier to see the things that are left to work with and make it easier to be sure in the choices and the moves that you make to continue to build and create. And it's not easy. Change is never easy, especially when it's change that is deeply connected and rooted in the self. But it is worth it. And letting yourself go through it and experience and feel, that will be a huge teacher in and of itself. It'll help you grow and become better overall. Cool. That's the reading. What a good deck. Wow. I'm going to start pulling you out a lot more because that was beautiful. Anyway, that's what the cards have to say. And we'll just leave it there. Let's go ahead and close our circle. So just like we did at the beginning, we're going to close our eyes, we're going to breathe, we're going to visualize, we're going to let it go. So Once again, you can join me in closing your eyes if it feels safe and good to do so. And take a couple of breaths and let everything kind of settle. Reimagine that circle of protection surrounding you. And take a big deep breath in. And as you exhale, your breath releases it, scattering salt, extinguishing fire, dissipating air, sending water, stones, plants sinking back into the earth, opening the circle and releasing the energy. I release the spirits and guardians of the west, the south, the east, and the north, sending you back to your place in the natural order with praise and with gratitude. I send the energy of all those watching and listening back to them whole, complete, and intact. And take the energy of myself back to myself whole, complete, and intact. May we remain friends, though our energies are no longer crossed, corded, or tangled at all, starting now. Take a breath, feel your energy settle into you, all yours. The circle is open, and so it is. Amazing. Thank you so much. I hope to see you on Patreon sometime this week, if that feels cool to you. I hope to see you in a reading or see your name come through my email for a written reading, whatever is clever, which I now realize I've said twice, and I don't think I've ever used that phrase in my life. And then today, apparently, it's a new thing for me. Anyway, I hope you have an incredible week. I hope that you are doing what you can to find joy and hope in this moment. We're all in this together. All we have is each other. And I will see you next week.